Dear students, in this presentation I am going to discuss about elastic properties of materials. So all of us know about elastic materials. So if I have a material like this and if I try to stretch this material and leave the force, then see if the material regains its original shape completely after the removal of the deforming forces, then it is said to be elastic in nature. Example is steel, so which has got very high elasticity. That is, no, if you try to stretch this maybe a steel wire or a rod and no leave the force, immediately it comes back to its original shape. So it's no, highly elastic in nature. So now if when I know leave the deforming force, if the body gets deformed into a new shape, then it is said to be plastic in nature. For example, no example is wax. So this is just the basics about the elastic materials. So now let us study some more terms like stress and strain. So when a body is subjected to deforming force, it causes stress. As a result, the body gets strained and deformed. Now what is this stress? So let us discuss about stress. So when a force is applied, the molecules present in a material are displaced from their previous position. So suppose this is the arrangement of the molecules in a material. See, when force is applied, so what happens is this, you know, molecules will be displaced from their previous positions. These molecules then develops a tendency to come back to their original positions because of intermolecular forces. So there is some intermolecular force between these various molecules, and they will try to come back to their original position. The net effect of the restoration tendency exhibited by all the molecules manifests a balancing or restoring force which counteracts the applied force. This restoring force per unit area, so that is called as stress. So stress is the restoring force per unit area, and the unit of this is force, that is Newton divided by the area, meter square, so Newton per meter square. So this is about stress. Now let us understand what is strain. The deformation produced by the external force leads in the change in dimensions. So the ratio of change in dimension divided by the original dimension. So that's called as strain. So which doesn't have any unit, because change in dimension maybe say it's in terms of meter divided by the original dimension meter. So there is no unit for this. So that's about strain. Now let us study about the various types of stress and strain. So the first one is longitudinal stress. So the longitudinal stress, see, that is once again the force acting per unit area. So see, suppose if I have a material like this, okay, and so I apply a force in this direction. So there is a little bit of stretching here. Okay, so this change in dimension is x. Now see, obviously the stress is force acting per unit area, and what is strain? The longitudinal strain, so that is equal to, so change in dimension, so that is x divided by, see, if this was the original dimension L, so x by L, so that is the strain. And we have the second type of stress and strain, which is compressive stress or volumetric stress. Compressive stress. So here, see, if a force is acting uniformly through the body, something like this. Okay, so that can be uh, termed as pressure. So pressure. So the compressive stress that's equal to the pressure, which is equal to, once again, force acting per unit area, that is the compressive stress. And see, because of the applied pressure, see, the original volume was V, now there is a change in volume, so that is V. So the strain that becomes change in volume, that is V divided by the original volume. Okay, so now let us discuss about tangential stress. So tangential stress, once again, see, that's equal to force acting per unit area. And what is tangential strain? See, that is, now suppose if I consider a cube, and whatever diagram I have drawn here is one face of the cube. See, suppose this are the ends A, P, S, D. Okay, with the length being L. See, now if I apply a force here, or a stress is applied, see, the point P moves like this. Okay, so that is P is moving to P dash. So the angle through which there is a shift, so that is theta. So that is nothing but the strain. So the tangential or shearing strain, so that is given by theta. So for small values of theta here, see, this is equal to, if this distance is x, so that's equal to, once again, x by L. So this is some of the basics of the elasticity. So now I'll go to the next topic, that's about Hooke's law and the stress strain diagram. So we know that as per Hooke's law, stress is directly proportional to strain. So Hooke's law says that stress is directly proportional to strain, or that is, see, Hooke's law says stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit for a given material, or else stress by strain, that's equal to a constant. Stress by strain is a constant, and it's called as, the constant is called as elastic modulus. So we have various types of elastic modulus, which I will be discussing in the next topic. So after studying Hooke's law, see, let us study in detail about this stress strain diagram. So now suppose if I have a material, see, we know that I can stretch the material up to certain limit, and beyond that limit, if I stretch, then the material may break. So we'll discuss what are the different steps in the stress versus strain diagram. See, the curve goes like this from the origin, so that is up to P. See, this curve that represents the proportional limit. So the Hooke's law is valid only up to P. So that is the proportional limit. So within this limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. So if I just stretch a material till here and leave the force, then it can retrace the original path. So if suppose if I stretch the material beyond P up to a point Q, then also the material can regain its original shape completely. So the point Q, that's called as the yield point, or else this is called as the elastic limit. So I can set the material up to this limit, and if I leave the force, then the material can regain its original shape completely. So suppose if I stretch the material beyond the yield point, see, now the body gets deformed. So then it traces this particular path, which is corresponds to the permanent set. So there is a plastic deformation taking place here. Again, see, what happens beyond R is, like, if you apply the force once again, see, the molecules present in the material, see, they will move apart. They will be moving apart, and it will just show the ultimate strength. So at this particular point, see, X, the molecules moves apart, and it shows its maximum strength, which is called as ultimate strength. So beyond this X, if you stretch the material, then the material may break. So that corresponds to the fracture point. So this is about the stress versus strain diagram as per Hooke's law for a metal wire. So what happens, suppose if I have a metal wire or a rod, and if I try to stretch the material, say up to P, that no, that's the proportional limit. Hooke's law is directly it's obeyed here, that is stress is directly proportional to strain. And even if I stretch up to Q also, the material can regain its original shape completely. So that is the elastic limit or the yield point. Beyond Q, if I stretch, then see material gets permanently deformed, so which corresponds to the permanent set. Again, if you stretch the material, see the material will exhibit its ultimate strength, and above that limit the material breaks, which corresponds to the fracture point. And see, from Q to X, a kind of hardening called strain hardening takes place in the material with increase in stress. And from X to S, the material weakens even under reduced stress due to strain softening. So this region is called strain softening region. So this is about the Hooke's law and stress strain diagram.